LaMelo Ball had a high school experience that was straight out of a 2K My Career story. He went from being Lonzo's little brother to shooting half-court shots, scoring almost 100 points in a game, and casually going pro at 16. Not to mention the fact that after he went pro, he created his own league, fought in it, and gracefully returned for his senior year of high school. The list goes on from there too. At this point, you gotta remember that Chino Hills team was one of the most viral topics in basketball. The Ball family literally got a TV show that now has 6 seasons.
I know Michigan and Detroit. You can't be serious.
This is the LaMelo Ball I, along with many others, were first introduced to, and during his freshman year, he was supposed to be in 8th grade but played up so he could be on the same team as his older brothers. They took over the internet by being 3 brothers on the same nationally ranked team. Oh yeah, and they also treated basketball like it was a game at LA Fitness. These videos today have millions of views and created a whole new era for high school basketball media. Not saying that era's over, but that time was incredible. Chino Hills would actually play 5 dudes all game long full court pressing. They took crazy shots and threw crazy passes and just did stuff you should never see in high school. Now that Lonzo was off to UCLA and both brothers also had offers to go as well, high school basketball kinda didn't matter anymore. Liangelo was putting up 50 to 60 points a game, it felt like, his senior year, and LaMelo still had 2 years after this, so he decided to become Steph Curry. He would shoot shots from the volleyball line, half court, behind the hoop, in the locker room, it did not matter, LaMelo was going to shoot it. He had a real-life Kobe Bryant controller that could only shoot and throw flashy passes. Going into a game, LaMelo had the goal of scoring as many points as possible in honor of a girl that was in need of a heart transplant. Which is beautiful and I respect it. So what do you go for, like 40, 50? Try 92 points in one game. LaMelo has got to be the only high school sophomore that could look his coach dead in the face and say, "Coach, I'm going for 100 tonight," and it be completely cool. This broke the internet, and a lot of people did flame him for cherry picking a lot of points, but 92 points is 92 points. The Suns fouled at the end of a game they were getting their ass beat to give Booker 70, so I don't want to hear it. He finished the season averaging 27 points and 10 assists a game. That season, they would also receive their first loss in 60 games. And it's not like they lost to your average high school either. They lost to Oak Hill, who breeds NBA players. Then in the spring and summer, while high school basketball wasn't going on, LaMelo would play for his own AAU team called the Big Ballers, who was coached by his own dad, LeVar Ball. And on this team, when I tell you he would do whatever he wanted, I truly mean he would do whatever he wanted. You don't like the call from a ref? Well, since you own the team, you can real life rage quit and walk off the floor in the middle of a game. Although he did have his fair share of lowlights, it was kind of inevitable. He was a highlight machine, and not because he was really forcing highlights, it was kind of just how he played. He does the exact same thing in the NBA today. The only difference was this LaMelo was 16 years old, making good high school basketball players look like they shouldn't even be there. And looking back at his sophomore highlights today, he was actually better than I even remember. Now that Liangelo was playing for UCLA and Lonzo was in the NBA, LaMelo was by himself. And since the era was coming to an end, Chino Hills decided to hire a new coach that probably wasn't going to play how Chino Hills is used to playing. So LeVar did what any regular dad would do and moved to Lithuania so LaMelo could go pro. And since future millionaire Liangelo Ball stole from the Gucci store for absolutely no reason, he was tagging along. Playing overseas, you didn't really hear much of him other than his highlight videos on YouTube, but this is actually where LaMelo took his biggest stride. Don't get it twisted, he still had that flashy, sometimes entertainingly ignorant game to him, but it was way more fundamental now. After Lithuania, his dad created the Junior Basketball Association, which turned into a complete disaster. I made an entire video about the JBA over a year ago, so if you're interested in how LeVar created the world's worst basketball league, I recommend you check that out. Basically, LeVar recruited every high school player he possibly could to come play in his league for money and fell through on about every promise he made to them. But through it all, LaMelo was still able to shine, although these games were glorified hoop sessions. Nobody would play defense, and at the end of the day, none of the games really mattered. LaMelo finished the 8-game season averaging, and I'm not kidding, 39.6 points, 14.6 rebounds, and 11.5 assists. In his debut game, he had 40 points, 16 rebounds, and 10 assists. Oh yeah, and he also took 40 shots. LaMelo didn't just own the team like he did in AAU, he owned the league, so I dare you to complain about not getting your shots while you play with him. They created a Team USA, which was better, but yeah. But in one of these games, he would actually get ejected for slapping a grown man in the face. To be fair, it was kind of justified, old boy did try to little bro him, but when you're LaMelo Ball, you can't be doing stuff like that. He was able to play for SPIRE his senior year despite having professional experience because they weren't technically a sanctioned school. They weren't able to play a lot of the other big high schools, but they still played extremely good competition. He just stood out when you watched him. He was clearly on another level than everyone on the court. He's now 6'8" and can dribble, dunk, and pass. Also, you can't forget he's been shooting deeper threes than Steph Curry since he was a kid, so the jump shot is still there, but even better on top of everything. And you could tell he was a changed person because during a big fight, LaMelo was the first person to jump in and come flying off the top rope like Jeff Hardy. But this time, instead of hopping in the fight, LaMelo decides to just get a better view. After torching his high school competition, he needed somewhere to hoop because he couldn't play basketball in college. They landed on the NBL, which is one of the biggest and most notable overseas leagues. And this would also be LaMelo's third time playing outside the country before he even turned 18. He would go on to average 17, 7, and 7 while winning Rookie of the Year. In this league against more legit professionals, he proved he belonged at the next level. And that he did. He would go on to set the record for the youngest triple-double, which was once held by his brother Lonzo, and also won the Rookie of the Year award, which to my knowledge makes LaMelo Ball the first professional basketball player to win back-to-back Rookie of the Year awards. At this point in LaMelo Ball's career, the unnecessary flash was gone.
Off to the races, what do you got?
Okay, gone for the most part. He's still flashy and entertaining, he just does it respectfully now. He's well-mannered in his interviews and accountable for his mistakes.
What's been the story of your success?
Water. They're drinking water. H2O.
Water.
No, I'm playing with you.
And that's one of the biggest reasons I wanted to make this video. Obviously, LaMelo was gonna get hate for how he used to act. But to be honest, he acted how any other young teenager would act with all the cameras and fame he had. There's going to be slip-ups, but the transformation he's made, everything he's gone through on his path to the NBA, I feel like it doesn't get talked about enough. Although some of his problems were self-made, it doesn't ignore the fact that he still went through it and came out a better person and player.